Hey, you've written a great birth plan, or you don't know anything at all about birth plans, but you want to write a great birth plan. How do you make birth plan magic? Yes, I think that there's a little magic recipe. I'm going to talk about that today. Hey, welcome back. I am Mandy Irby. I am the birth nurse, and you have found the best channel ever for labor and delivery questions, all about birth, everything that happens after your baby is born. That's what I cover on this channel. Products, tutorials, do's and don'ts, really tough stuff to talk about. That's what we talk about here on this channel. I believe that women's bodies are powerful, and with the right support, we are unstoppable. If you agree or just want more of all that other stuff, then consider subscribing and don't forget to click that bell so that you're notified of every video. I want to make sure that you hone in on this and you're listening and you're writing and taking notes, because I think there is a reason why people write birth plans and a reason why they don't actually maybe get all of the check boxes on their birth plan. Does that make sense? When your birth plan falls flat, we don't want that to happen, and I think I know why it happens a lot. So, birth plan magic. Let me tell you the magic secret. A lot of people write birth plans. They have a plan around their birth. It's exactly like what you have. If you have a need or a desire to have more confidence, more knowledge surrounding your childbirth, ways to make decisions and feel more empowered about your decision making, that's a plan. That's great, and that's why you're taking this childbirth class. But some people write a birth plan as a list of instructions. So here's what I see happening. I see parents printing out a birth plan online, checking the boxes that they want, which is pretty much everything, because they sound awesome. It's like a grocery. What is it like? Grocery list? It's like a menu. So they go online and they find a birth plan template or a list, and they check all the things on the menu that they want, including appetizers, main course, second, third, fourth course, their salad, their dessert, everything. They check it all, and they all sound good, so how can you not check all of the things? They print that out, and then they bring that to the hospital or the birth center, and they give it to the nurse. And no one else has ordered. No one else has even seen the menu. Maybe one or two people, and that's it. And then the nurse gets this menu or birth plan. Then the family, the patient, Prigo as I call her, and partner and family know nothing about this menu, and they just do their own thing. So there's a million visitors, it's loud. Oh, pause. Back in action. Had to turn the heat off. So the family has never seen this menu, and the only person who has it is the nurse, and now it's more like a script. So she has this menu as a script, yet none of the other cast members or players have seen it, and they don't know their part. So there's a million visitors, there's bright lights, there's people that weren't even invited into the room knocking on the door. There's a movie on TV about World War II. No one knows who's staying when the baby comes out. They're calling and posting on social media. All these things are happening, and they seem to be very contrary to the birth plan or to the script or to the menu. The nurse then has to interpret what this means, and it looks like one person wrote a script weeks ago and then gave it to the nurse. And the nurse either assumes that there's been a change, which totally happens. We're women. Hello, we change our minds with the wind, and that's fine. There's either been a change, or she is supposed to direct this scene, the Prigo's childbirth experience, with this script. But it's very difficult to do that when none of the other actors know their parts. Does that make sense? Okay, let me bring it up back around again a little bit clearer. I recommend a birth plan to be written as you are preparing for your childbirth. So you're packing, you have a packing list, you have a book list to read, you have the postpartum list that I gave a few lessons ago about who you can contact for help during the postpartum period. You have ideas about what you're gonna wear, I already said what you're gonna pack, who's gonna watch the dog, all these things you're writing down as you are preparing for your childbirth. And your birth plan kind of is that last part. So it is, again, notes on what you want for your childbirth. As you are narrowing things down, and if you want to write something and give that to your birth professionals or birth provider, I suggest picking the top 3 things that are most important to you. Here's one way to do that. You could start planning your birth plan as you are picking mantras and affirmations for your childbirth. This does not mean you have to have mantras or affirmations, but this is one of the exercises that I recommended, and it's helpful just to start visualizing your birth. When you see or read affirmations that click with you and you can really jive with the wording or the image or the picture that it paints for you, then you are narrowing down your priorities and your goals. So you can look at those affirmations that you've written down, or look at the ones you've highlighted, look at the ones that really speak to you, and try to figure out your goals and your priorities from them, because they're going to make it very clear. Then from those goals and priorities, create your top 3. Write those down. Those can be shared with your professionals and with your providers. This is also for your doula to read and for your partner, but your doula and your partner are going to know the behind the scenes. And that is the prep list that you're kind of creating as you are preparing for childbirth. What makes you feel safe? What does safe smell like, feel like, look like? What are you listening to? What are you wearing? What makes you comfortable? What makes you scared? What makes you tense? What are you expecting to have happen, and what do you not want to have happen? These are things that you can talk about before you go into labor. These are not going to hurt your labor hormones by bringing up the really scary stuff or working on your fear exercises from earlier. Do those things ahead of time and be open with your team about them. But your nurse doesn't necessarily need to know all of those things. This is how you are preparing to give birth, and so you want to prepare your room to feel and look and smell and sound just like that list. And your partners are going to know what's on that list, so they're not going to turn all the lights on, or they're not going to have that Super Bowl football game on TV if that is going to jar you and not jive with your rhythm. So that's not necessarily the nurse's job to turn off your TV. Does that make sense? You need to be kind of formulating this plan, but the things that you write on your birth plan are things that the birth nurse, that your labor nurse can help you with, can help you achieve. So those are things that have to do with your exams, with the hospital staff, how to discuss pain management, that can be on there, or how not to discuss pain management, and maybe your overall goals for your childbirth. So saying, I want the lights turned down low, but all of your partners and all of your birth team already have the lights turned down, she doesn't need to know that. She's going to walk into the room and feel that and see that. She's going to smell your room. She's going to get a feel for the culture of your room. So creating that isn't necessarily important on your birth plan if you and your team, your team is going to help you do that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So I like to say, put your top 3 things on the list, but it's not a bad idea to keep track of the other things that you're expecting or that you're wanting in your childbirth time and in your labor time so that you don't forget, because you're going to forget, and your people can remind you and they can refer to that list and think, oh my gosh, we haven't even done the water. We haven't even done water. Let's get in the shower. Let's try that. You said you wanted to try that. Now's a good time for that. That's a good handy refer to list or reminder list. Doesn't necessarily have to be on your birth plan. If you want something out of the ordinary that they don't normally do where you are giving birth, put that on your birth plan. But that's also a great excuse to go tour your location, find out what they do, find out some of their habits, talk with a nurse or talk with your doula if she's been to that facility multiple times and can kind of share with you generally what happens. Because if you want something that's different than what they do, that should go on your birth plan. But things that are routine and normal don't necessarily have to be repeated because they're going to automatically do that. I hope that helps you shorten your birth plan. It should not be longer than a page. No one's reading the other pages. And make it very personal to you, but also readable, easy to read, easy to follow, easy to understand, and not give your providers a menu of things that would be awesome in a perfect world, because that's not what a birth plan is. A birth plan needs to be about you, and it needs to have concrete ways that your birth professionals can help you improve your experience. You like that, birth magic? Yeah. Show me with a thumbs up so I can keep creating information just like this. Thank you so much for your support. If you have questions or you aren't sure if it counts for birth magic, stick them in the comments. I would love to talk about it down there. Also, check out the comments because a lot of awesome people write their experiences on comments on this channel, and it can be so helpful to just read what other people have done. Share with a prego friend or someone in your life that needs to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe. I will see you on the Facebook group, and I'll see you next time.